Coffee with Kim, and we are here with Shirley Brauker. And welcome, Shirley. How are you?
I'm doing fine today, thanks.
I want you to just kind of tell us like where you live and what's your tribal affiliation and what the medium is that you work in.
Sure, I'd like to start out by saying Ani, Niji, Buju, Debik, Gisis, Makwa, Indigenous, Makwa Dodum. And that's the way that we introduce ourselves in my native language, which is Anishinaabe-Moan from Michigan, the Great Lakes area. And I said, hello, friends, greetings all. My native name is Moon Bear, or better translated as Bear of the Nighttime Sun, which I love that. Yeah. And I'm also a member of the Bear Clan. And my tribe is Little River Band of Ottawa Indians here in Michigan.
Okay.
And we're just centered around the northern part, but we kind of spread out because we were what they considered the traders. We traded goods along the waterways. So.
Right. How big is your tribal affiliation?
I don't know if it's 2,000 or 4,000. It's not really very large. It's part of the Three Fires Network. So, which is Ojibwe, Iroquois, and then Potawatomi and the Ottawa. So.
Okay, awesome. And then what's the medium that you work in, Shirley?
I mainly work in pottery, but the pottery is kind of developed into sculptures, not just pots anymore. And so it's kind of going in a little bit towards the diverse because I add other elements like stained glass or wooden carved horses or bears, beadwork on there, stained glass, drawings that I put inside the pots. And also they're all hand carved and everything. But I also have in the last several years started with the ledger drawings. And I really love that because I can start putting my stories into the pictures and people enjoy that. And it's a way for me to keep all my personal history and my family history and just regional history involved and, you know, passing it on to the next generation.
I love that. Yeah, I feel like that's one of the reasons that I love doing Coffee with Kim is it lets people talk about their artwork from that story perspective. Can you like expound on that a little bit of what it is that you're actually portraying?
Well, a lot of the designs, at first they just started coming to me like, well, actually when I was a little kid, like about 5 years old. So I wasn't even in kindergarten. And I was playing in a mud puddle out in front of my house down in northern Indiana, waiting for my sister to get off the school bus. And the mud was just that perfect, right consistency. So I was making a little village, made little horses and stick legs and everything and a little log cabin. And then the next day I went out there and even though I understood creativity, I didn't understand what science and the sun would do to a mud puddle. And so it was all dried up and I was like, where'd it go? But so, and then years later, when I started school at Central Michigan University, the first day I was in the pottery class, I had that feeling again. It was like deja vu. And I thought, oh my gosh, I could do this the rest of my life. And I really have ever since then.
Wow.
So, and then, yeah, and then the stories, I've done a lot of research, reading books, hearing old legends, stories that my mom told me, and then a lot of personal stuff, which I blend that all together and then make images that can relate that. And the stories got so intricate that I actually started writing little stories and little books and making little small hand sewn books that I put together. I leave those in the pots for when the people buy them. They get to take that story home so that they can refresh their mind about it.
The other thing you had mentioned to me is that you're actually featured in a couple of markets. What are those markets, Shirley?
Right now, there are two exhibits in northern Michigan. One is at the Muskegon Museum of Art in Muskegon, Michigan. And that's been going on for about 2 months. And then the other one is at Grand Valley State University. And they're both about getting to the end of their cycle. And so that's been really good because even though people have been having to visit those virtually, we also were able to do like a group talk the other night, and several of the other artists and myself got together and talked about where do these inspirations come from, what we're doing with it, and how we're kind of transforming the old ways into this new technology and going forward with that. So
very cool. And so that must be like some commonalities with artists, right? Just coming to
yeah,
a place of creativity with the stories. You had also mentioned to me that you won best of class for our virtual
yeah,
market.
yeah. That was at Santa Fe, and I had won over the years. I think I've been going there like 20 years now.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, I've had lots of first, second, and thirds, and some honorable mentions. But this past summer was a best of category, which was like a notch up for me, and it was like, wow, that's really cool, really cool. So I was excited about that.
That's very cool. Yeah, I think there was definitely some surprises. Haven't never like actually done one of the best of class and then the best of shows. So it was exciting watching
Yeah,
this transpire because I think it was totally virtual and so just the opportunity to have artists come in and experience that for the first time outside of our physical market was exciting.
yeah. I think everybody was a little worried about, well, what's this year going to do now to our livelihoods?
Right.
And I think just having that market there, it brought in a lot of people that may or may not have already looked at my work and seen it, but then they were reintroduced to it. So it really helped me out.
Yeah, because you had mentioned also that you definitely played a part with having an online presence and was marketing yourself. And what was the outcome of that?
It was really good. In fact, I'm still getting calls, right to this day. People are waiting for those other two shows in Michigan to wind down so that they can get the pieces that they ordered from those shows to be shipped out.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah,
So do you have any actual pieces that you can show us?
I've got some pottery and I've also got my drawings. Like these are things that are like for reasons, deep meanings to me, but sometimes they come just in a dream. Like one of my best pots came to a dream. Oh gosh, it must have been in the late 70s. And I was actually going out to a pottery convention with the teacher and a couple of other students from Central Michigan University. And I had this dream about making this little carved pot, and they had little turtles all around the top edge, and they were cut all the way through. And so I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to make that as soon as I get home. And I did. And even though it was just small, like maybe the size of a grapefruit, it's developed into my big carved pots. So that's how some of my inspiration comes. But a lot of it's like real personal things. And I'll show you some of these. And then this one is my Missing and Murdered Sisters series. This one is called Birds of a Feather. And if you look at it really close, you can see the birds and the people are dressed alike. And that one's called Into the Fray. And this one's Gathering Medicine.
Where are you getting your ledger paper from?
Actually, I bought a big actual book out in Missouri on the way to Santa Fe one year. It's leather bound and it's like 4 inches thick or something. I just tear those pages out and draw from that. I'll show you some of the pots.
Okay.
Black and white one is called Jumping Mouse, and it's a story by Hemios Storm. And this is a black earthenware fired clay. I fired it outside. They use a lot of the woodland floral designs for some of the information that I carve in between.
So then your pots, they made from clay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's stoneware clay. It's a different kind. I don't dig it myself. And I use an electric kiln most of the time. Sometimes I fire outside or use a raku kiln.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing is it's very different, right? As far as pottery, it can be
Yeah,
very traditional, or it can be used, you can use some of the techniques that are used of this day and age. That's very cool.
yeah,
You're in the classification of diverse arts then.
yeah. Some of it is diverse, some of it's just pottery. Now, I don't have any here. Sometimes I put stained glass inside of the square boxes. I'm doing these big slab carved boxes. So that does go into the diverse.
Gotcha.
And then if I add anything extra, like the horses or the wooden carvings or anything like that, that's diverse. But
Right.
most of it is just, the pot, the clay, and fired. So
So then the little carving of the horse on top of the pot, is that wood?
yeah, that's wood.
Oh,
Hmm.
wow, Shirley, so
And
you're carving in wood as well.
yeah, and then I use real horsehair to put in his mane and tail. So I had a horse, and I'm running low on hair now.
Yeah, God find us another horse.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
funny. That's
yeah.
cool. So what are some of the neat things that you're working on with anticipation of being able to maybe be in some physical markets?
Well, I'm doing this whole series on the missing and murdered Indigenous women. I've done several different ledger drawings, and then I people really are just fascinated with the images, and
Right.
so and then I've done a couple of different pots. In fact, that's the one that won the big prize out in Santa Fe, and it was pretty cool because the first one went to the lady who used to be the director of Indian education in Washington, D.C.
Hmm.
Well, she started writing books, and she wrote a book about this, and she's now the new owner of the new ledger. So I thought that was really, yeah, I thought that was really nice for her collection to have both the three-dimensional and the two-dimensional pieces on that.
That's
So
pretty cool. I wanted you to tell me in your own understanding of what MMIW stands for.
gosh, when I first heard about it, I was shocked. I couldn't believe that that was really happening. I mean, there's like recorded, there's like over 6,000 people, women, girls, that are missing, and it's like that can't be. That's not right. It's got to be noted. It's got to be followed through. These women have to be found. People have to be accountable, and yeah. So I just started taking up a little mini cause, and I'm involved with a group in my little hometown, and I had mentioned that was my next piece, and this was a couple of years ago, and they had no idea what I was talking about. And so now, of course, it's coming to the more of the forefront, and you see the red hands and
Mhm,
on the faces and the red dresses and everything, and
mhm.
yeah, it's just unbelievable. They said like 10 Native women are 10 times more apt to be murdered than any other race of women,
Wow.
and it's just unbelievable. That's like 4 out of 5, I think, have already had violence taken against them in their lives. And that's like 84% of all Native women.
Yes.
That's just not acceptable. And I don't know why they don't dig into it more and try to, do something about it.
Right.
So just bringing awareness is my little part, I guess.
Yes, I love that. I think that it is definitely something that the artist community has embraced to
Hmm.
be a voice. And I know that SWIA back in 2019, its theme was murdered and missing Indigenous women. And
Oh,
so I
really?
think that cause continues to be,
Good.
yeah, a very good cause. And so thank you for sharing that with us. Um, so in the last question I have for you is just 20 years. You've been coming to Santa Fe Indie Market for 20 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, I have to drive, and
Yeah.
the pots, big tubs of pottery, and set up the table and all that. And I love going there. I mean, I went to school at IAIA, so it's always like just getting to come back home for a week or two, and so that's fun. Yeah.
What year did you graduate from IAIA?
See, I think it was 89, 80, 89 was when I was out there. Yeah.
That's cool. That's
But see,
great.
I already at that point had my BFA, Bachelor's of Fine Arts, and my master's degree from Central Michigan University. And then a few years ago, I did the commencement speech for the university, and I ended up receiving a honorary PhD. So
Oh,
that, yeah,
wow. That's
yeah,
exciting.
yeah, there were like 5,000 people in the crowd, in the auditorium, and the president of the university called me. I had taught there, a Native American class I developed myself, and I taught there. And he said, well, would you be nervous about talking in front of 5,000 people? And I said, well, I don't know. I've never done it before. And so I got, I did it. And I loved it. It was great. It was a big honor for me. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm just excited for you. I think that's special. Well, I just appreciate you coming on with us and sharing your art and the things that you're doing. And Shirley, thank you for the encouragement of people doing their artwork as far as e-commerce is concerned
Oh,
online. I
yeah.
think that that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
Well,
And if
thank
you,
you.
yeah, definitely. And I just want to say to our audience that you can catch Coffees with Kim on YouTube, and we would love it if you would like and share. And thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shirley.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Miigwech.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.